Currie Cup final is this weekend. It has been quite some time since I have sat down to watch some South African rugby, so I am looking forward to this. Despite the fact that the feedback on the two semi-finals in the Currie Cup last week was not the most positive of feedback. The Bulls, I know these logos are Super Rugby logos, but you guys get the idea. The Bulls beat the Lions 26-21, which was probably a bit closer than people thought maybe it was going to be. And then the Sharks managed to beat Western Province 19 points to 9 away from home. So, yeah, it's a Bulls-Sharks final. I'm not sure if it gets much bigger than that. I guess Bulls Western Province would have also been pretty big, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a welcome return to the South African teams for me. I stopped watching once the Super Rugby Unlocked season came to a close, so it's going to be nice for me to just jump back on the bandwagon just for this final week. I did the same thing with the Mitre 10 Cup. Like, I didn't really watch every game week in, week out, but when it comes finals time, man, a final is a final, so I can't really resist that one, especially when you look at the lineups. I will go through the lineups. I'll go through the predictions for this one. But yeah, you guys can let me know your thoughts on how this one's going to go. I should say the Bulls finished first on the log. The log is 8 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. The Sharks had a similar record, 7 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses. I haven't looked up how many of these were cancelled, postponed games with COVID. To be fair, I remember that was a thing in Super Rugby Unlocked. Some of the times the games were just called off if there were positive cases in the camps. These teams did meet relatively recently, the 13th of December. So, a month and a half ago, these guys met, and it was actually a Sharks win. It was a late try to Your Pinkler, 32-29 to the Sharks, but that one was in Durban. Obviously, the Sharks are away for this one. So, yeah, as for the lineups, I do like the look of these two front rows against each other. It looks like both sides are pretty similar to the ones that played last week, but you got Gqoboka up against, well, not directly up against, but in terms of Springbok selection, up against Oxenchair. With the Beast retiring and you got Stephen Kitsoff as kind of your regular loose head prop, there's definitely a place for someone to make the step up to see who is in Rassie Erasmus's sights for a potential Lions tour if that goes ahead, and the Ox and Lizo are surely right up there in terms of selection. Likewise, Thomas Dutoy and Trevor Nyakane, two of the better tight heads around. Trevor, if you have followed the channel for any length of time, you'll know I'm a pretty big fan of his. Like, he's a pretty good scrummager. And he's definitely kind of gone through that renaissance in his career where it was like, came onto the scene, was like okay for quite some time, and you question maybe his ability at the top level, and then he absolutely took it up another gear. And props can do that as well, because props tend to get better with age, whereas like other positions, they lose a bit of speed. Maybe they lose that overall ability. But Trevor Nyakane, admittedly, I haven't seen how he's been going in the recent rounds. Haven't been watching the Currie Cup, but at least the Trevor Nyakane I know is a pretty good scrummager. Grobbelaar and Mbatha are the two hookers. I think Grobbelaar is the only change for the Bulls. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same lineup. So, yeah, obviously the lineups are going to be pretty important for both sides, and these guys will have key hands in that. Manjesi and Nortje are the locks for the Bulls. It's Van der Mesh and Van Heerden for the Bulls. So both pretty good. I remember Nortje from Super Rugby Unlocked, and he seemed to be the business. The Sharks guys are no slouches either, but I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've watched. And when I think South African locks, I'm not thinking any of those 4 guys. So yeah, it's going to be a refreshing one for me to see how these guys go. Van Staden from Super Rugby Unlocked anyway was in phenomenal form for the Bulls. He's in the 6th jersey. Lowe is in the 7th jersey, and Vermeulen is captain at 8. Is he going to continue to be that Captain Fantastic that I'm familiar with? I would assume he's been playing pretty well for the Bulls in the last few weeks. But he's up against a pretty good guy at the other end of the age scale in terms of Sikumbo Zinoche. Bloody good ball handle, that guy. So I don't know what the size difference would be between the guys. Like, Dwayne Vermeulen's a bit of a unit. I'm not sure. I haven't looked up the height and weight differences between those guys. But both pretty skilled. And not Noche's got a pretty good offload on him as well when he wants to throw it. Henkov Fenta and Dylan Richardson are the 7 and 6 respectively. Dylan Richardson was a guy prior to the last Super Rugby competition getting properly locked down and cancelled. He was in a proper run of form, so I look forward to seeing him as well. Funsail seems to be the guy who gets the nod in the number 9 jersey for the Bulls. It seems like he's pretty much beaten out Papia for the starting job with the Bulls. Is that right? I remember at the start of the season, Jake White basically said, I got 2 good 9s, and they're both kind of on equal footing. But it seems like over the course of the season, Funsail has been the guy. Hendrickse is the guy in the number 9 jersey this week for the Sharks. That means Nohamba is on the bench. Didn't he get absolutely hammered last week in a huge tackle? Anyway, Mornay Stan and Kerwin Bosch are your 2 10s. Both guys with pretty big boots. I think they both have pretty decent kicking percentages this season as well. Hendricks is 12 for the Bulls, Marius Lowe for the Sharks, and Janssen van Vuuren for the Bulls. Lukanyu is there for the Sharks, so pretty good midfield. Hendricks, I mean, he's only, at least from what I've seen of him, only really made that switch to the midfield in recent times. I haven't watched the guy's career week in, week out, but he's always been a winger when I've seen him, at least in recent times. But under Jake White, I think he's pretty much always been at 12, hasn't he? So he's pretty good, and Lukanyu is one of the best in the business. So remember I mentioned it's going to be a joy to watch some South African rugby again. Yeah, looking at these names on the team sheet, there's a reason for that. Outside backs, you got, is it Jacobs or Jacobs? I can never remember with the South African names. On the left wing for the Bulls, Kurtley Arendse is on the right wing, and David Creel. Arendse is a guy who I've come to know only this year, really, with Super Rugby. Well, last year with Super Rugby Unlocked, and he was a pretty useful player, to be honest. And Jor Pinkler, since he moved over from the Kings, has been pretty decent as well. I think he scored a few tries. Zubunkosi is a very serious looking face, but he's bags of talent as well. Very quick and more power than he should be able to pack into that frame. Afalele Fassi, I'm very happy to see him. I don't know that I've seen him for a while. I seem to remember he sat out the start of the Unlock season injured. He's future Springbok. You guys are loaded with fullbacks, man. I know LaRue was the guy at the World Cup, and then you had Galant tearing it up as well at fullback for the Stormers in Super Rugby Unlocked. You guys got loads of fullbacks, and Fassi is a guy who seems to have a big kind of potential. He's got lots of room to grow. On the bench, there's a few big names as well. Van Rooyen is there, Arnold Botha is there, Ambrose Papia. For the Bulls, Bowley, Hiron Andrews can't make the starting lineup, which is interesting. Marnie Libok is there, Jeremy Ward, Nohamba, as I mentioned. So, yeah, plenty of big names in this one. I'm not sure what kind of billing is this getting in South Africa. Is this a much anticipated final, traditional rivals, or is it kind of sneaking under the radar? I'm not kind of sure where the feeling for this Currie Cup is this year, but anyway, it's certainly a big game with some big names in it. The Bulls are definitely the favourites. They've been the favourites since the start of the season, and they've continued on. The Rugby Forecast algorithm has them by 12 points, and the bookies over here in New Zealand also have the Bulls, but by half, so 6 points compared to the algorithm, which says a pretty comfortable 12. Should be an interesting one. You guys let me know your thoughts, and as I mentioned multiple times, I have not been watching the Currie Cup in recent weeks at all, so do let me know kind of which guys are going into this game in form, anybody who you think is a potential weakness, any guys under injury clouds or just coming back from injury. It is on at 2 o'clock in the morning, I think Sunday morning over here in New Zealand, so I'm going to watch it first thing in the morning, so I'm not going to get up and watch it live, because 2 o'clock is about the worst time for the old time difference. I know you guys will have the opposite feeling sometimes when you see the game times here in New Zealand are listed at a horrendous time. But anyway, if I didn't have kids, I'd probably just get up and watch it. But anyway, it's excuses. You guys let me know your thoughts on this one. Who do you want to win? I would probably go with the Sharks if I was going with my heart, and the Bulls if I was going with my head. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.